Hi there! In this video we're going to talk about how to solve a right triangle. So what does that mean? It means they're going to give you a right triangle, which is a triangle where one angle is 90 degrees, and you have to find all the missing sides and all the missing angles. And we're either going to use a combination of SOH CAH TOA, which you could use to find everything, all the sides and the angles, but sometimes it's also easy to use the Pythagorean Theorem along combination with SOH CAH TOA. So I just have one example for you today, so hopefully this helps to answer your questions. So here's my example. It says solve the right triangle, round to the nearest tenth. So the first thing that you want to notice is that our triangle, so we have a triangle named triangle ABC. It's a right triangle. And that's the only information that's given. We have to find all the missing things. So you'll notice I have this side that doesn't have a length. We call this side A, side little a actually, because if I look at my angle A, which is here, and I go across my triangle, sides are named across from their angles. So this is side little a. This orange side here is across from angle B. So this is going to be side little b. And then we also have to find angle C. So I'm looking to find little a, little b, and the measure of angle C. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these highlighting marks. And, whoops, I didn't want to get rid of the C, just the marks. Okay, so first thing I'm going to find is, we'll start at the top, little a. So if I use SOH CAH TOA, and I'm going to write this down, SOH CAH TOA. I always like to write it down for all my problems. From my perspective angle I have, which is right here, A is my opposite side. And the other information that they give me is the side length, that's 28. That's my adjacent side. So I have an O and an A, which means I'm going to use TOA. So I'm going to say that the tangent of my perspective angle, which is 50 degrees, is equal to my opposite side, A, divided by my hypotenuse, 28. Now, to get A on a side by itself, I have to multiply both sides by 28 to cancel out that 28. And then I'm just going to type in on my calculator. Pull that up here. 28 tan 50. I want to make sure I'm in degrees. So next to the kind of backspace arrow where it says deg on the top, if you click it, it'll turn into rad. You want to make sure it stays in deg for degrees. 28 times the tangent of 50 gives me 33.369. $33.369. And it wants me to round to the nearest tenth. So the tenth is right here. I look over one spot. It's a 6, which means I'm going to round this 3 up to a 4. So 33.4 is equal to A. Okay, for B, I'm going to still use the fact that my 28 is my adjacent side, but my B is actually the hypotenuse. So I have an A and an H. So I'm going to use cosine to find B. So I'm going to say that the cosine of my perspective angle is equal to my adjacent side, which is 28, divided by my hypotenuse, which is B, which I don't know. Okay, so in order to solve this, I have to get B on a side by itself, but I need to get it out of the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by B. So I have B times the cosine of 50. And remember, the cosine of 50 is just a number, so I'm actually going to divide both sides by the cosine of 50. You can't divide just by cosine. It won't give you anything. So you have to divide by this whole piece right here. So that cancels each other out. So I get B is equal to, and then I'm going to type on my calculator, 28 divided by the cosine of 50. 28 divided by the cosine of 50 gives me 43.560. .560. Again, I want to round to the 10th, so here's my number in the 10th. I look over, I have a 6, so that 5 is going to move up to a 6, so this is going to be 43.6. And I saved the easiest for last, actually, this angle C right here. I already know all my other angles in my triangle. I know that this angle is 50, and I know that this angle is 90, and I know that all angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees, so I can say 180 is equal to 50 plus 90 plus the measure of angle C. 50 and 90 add up to 140. And if I take away 140 from both sides, I end up with 40. So here is my information on my triangle that I solved. I could have used Pythagorean Theorem if I wanted. Once I found my first side, A, then I could have said, well, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. But since I was already using SOH CAH TOA, I just figured I'd go with it. But you can make that choice. Either way, you will get the same answer. Just to show you really fast, if I would have, had 28 squared plus 33.4 squared is equal to B squared, because that's what I don't know. I could have just figured this out on my calculator over here. So I did 28 squared plus 33.4 squared, and then I'm going to take the square root of my answer, and it gives me 43.6. So both ways would work to give you the same answer. It just depends on what you feel more comfortable with or what you like using. So if you have any questions, let me know. Again, remember, we're going to use SOH CAH TOA, and we can also combine in their Pythagorean theorem if you want to. Good luck.